I'm Libby Telford, a licensed life and living benefits advisor in Ontario, Canada. And in this video, I want to talk about something that I do run into occasionally when I'm speaking with prospects or clients. And that is the types of questions I have to ask them in order to apply for the life insurance plan or the disability plan that they are applying for. And I completely understand. A lot of people think that these questions can be very invasive. And we do have a saying in the insurance industry that if somebody is very hesitant to answer certain types of questions, that's a red flag. And it is, because that might mean that they do have the history that could disqualify them from being able to get coverage. And that's really unfortunate. But you need to let us know, because remember, the coverage is there in place in order to protect your beneficiary or you, should you be injured and need to make a benefits claim. And we want to pay out those benefits. We don't want to have to find out that there was a mismatch in the information you gave us at the time of application and the information that we discover at the time of a claim. We don't like it when that happens because it gives everybody a bad name. People go online and complain that insurance companies don't pay out. Well, these are the types of cases in which that might be true. So, as an advisor, as a good advisor, I strive to advocate for all my clients and let them know it's okay to tell me the truth. If I ask you if you have a criminal conviction, for example, and you say, well, why do you need to know that? Because it matters. But guess what? If you do have a criminal conviction in your history, but it's past a certain time frame, then it doesn't matter anymore. It's all about risk. So just because you do have a criminal conviction in your background, let us know. And we can say, well, listen, there's a 2-year moratorium, for example, on anybody with a criminal conviction. So get back to us after that 2 years is up and we'll restart the application, and everything should be fine as long as all of your answers meet the requirements for qualification. So keep that in mind. And another one is health concerns such as antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications, SSRIs. A lot of people are afraid to divulge that information because they think it might automatically disqualify them, which is not true. So don't let that discourage you. Don't hide that, because if that's on your record and you later do pass away and an investigation finds out that you were on these types of medications and you were on a treatment plan at the time of your application, but that it wasn't disclosed, that opens up the claim for denial. And we don't want to see that. I, as your advisor, I want to help you protect your beneficiaries, your kids, your spouse. The whole reason I'm talking with you is to help protect your family and to help protect your lifestyle. And we do pay out. That is how insurance companies continue to operate, and they have existed for hundreds of years because the reputation they have built up overall for paying out claims, helping families, which in turn help society. And sometimes I get pushback when I'm asking about your financial situation. It's extremely important because, again, what are we doing here? We're protecting your financial independence and your family's financial independence. So part of that is to make sure that we're not overcharging you for insurance. I don't want to sell you more insurance that you need, putting you in a position to be paying a monthly payment that you might not be able to afford further down the road and having to cancel your plan. We don't want that. We don't want your beneficiary to be left without should anything happen to you. And we also want to know that you, our clients, have the peace of mind every day that they're covered and that their family is taken care of should the unexpected happen to you. So when we ask about your financial situations, such as what's your income and what are your liabilities, that gives us an idea, because sometimes people just don't do the math on their own. But when we ask these questions, it helps us understand how much what your cash flow looks like, the incoming cash flow versus the outgoing cash flow. And then ultimately what kind of expendable dollars, surplus dollars you have left at the end of every month. And also what kind of coverage your beneficiary, if they're a dependent, actually needs in order to survive should you pass. So there's a lot of different calculations that are happening, and there's always good reason why we ask you these questions. It's not because we're invading your privacy, but insurance does that. That is the nature of insurance. It is a very private plan that you have to protect your specific situation, your specific dependents, your specific wish for your beneficiaries. All of that is private. And everything, all the information that we take from you is 100% confidential. My point is we're all these questions, all good advisors will ask you. So on that note, you should, as a client, you should take it as a red flag if you are not being asked any of these questions. Let me turn that around on you. You should see the red flags if you're not being asked these questions, because if you're not being asked any of these questions up front and you pay for an insurance policy that may or may not, you might not qualify for, or you might not be able to pay for, then either you're going to lose your coverage and never be able to afford it again because now you're older or now you have a new medical condition, or your beneficiary is going to make a claim and it's going to be denied because there was specific information that wasn't reported or declared upfront that should have been. So in my practice, that's what I do, is I advocate for the client to let them know it's okay to answer these questions. I want to help them get that coverage, get just the right coverage that they need at this time in their life. And I'm always thinking about the beneficiary, whether it's the client themselves or their dependents or their spouse. We want to make sure that everybody understands what's happening with the coverage. And I want to make sure that should a claim have to be made on my watch with my name on that policy, that there are no issues with the claim. It looks good on me, it looks good on the company, and it makes you and your family happy. And that is what I strive to do in my practice. And that is why I ask you all of these invasive questions. So I hope you learned something. And if you have any questions or comments or remarks about not being asked questions and that being a red flag, or being asked certain questions that you thought were a red flag or that you thought were too invasive and want to know more about why these questions are being asked, feel free to leave a comment below or contact me directly and we can have a private, personal, confidential, no obligation conversation about it. And I'd love to chat with you. Have a wonderful day.